Okay, I wanted to describe the process whereby what happens is bad ideas come down from up top, like the trans rights activism that's been kind of spewed out by The Guardian, etc. And what happens when that meets reality, because this is how our system is actually shaped through crisis and resolution of these tensions. Now, if we take the children's issue, anybody at policymaking level should be looking at every issue with safeguarding in mind, because all the institutions at the bottom all do this with everything. Every single thing they do, they keep this in mind. So you can very, very clearly see where policy has come from policymakers who don't see this. So let's discuss we are now going to use trans rights to say that trans women are women in all situations, and there is no question. So what that means is that we have to tell children that their perception is no longer theirs. There is no adult who works with children in this country who is going to tell a child that their perception is to be handed to an adult. Not one. Children's boundaries. We are now expected to say to children that your boundaries are no longer yours. We're not going to do that to children. I am not going to tell an 11-year-old girl that if an adult male with a penis out is near her, that she is expected to subordinate her perception and accept that that adult male is a female. I'm not going to do that, because in a safeguarding conversation, it is more important that an 11-year-old girl knows that her boundaries are hers and that her fears are hers. We are not going to tell children that if they feel uncomfortable and that feeling in their tummy happens and they feel uncomfortable around an adult, that they are to be educated out of it. We're not going to do that. Period. And even if that's dressed up in a way that it comes into schools and it comes into other institutions, dressed up as inclusivity, the minute we start putting that into practice, we're going to realise what that is and we're going to say no, which is why in Scotland the ill-advised guidance has hit walls and everybody's going, hang on a minute, I don't think so. With the Girl Guides, if the need that somebody like a misogynist like Sean Fay is expressing is that we have girls sleeping in an environment where there are male-bodied people, we are not going, that's a serious breach of safeguarding. When you look at the All Sorts guidance, what's really, really concerning about Transaction for Health and about a lot of these Twitter-based charities is their continual promotion that we should undermine relationships with parents. No, we don't do that. We're not going to tell children, we're not going to have professionals who are going to support children in being groomed by adults. We're not going to do that. And we're especially not going to do that with children with adults who are obsessed with fucking sex. Because actually what you have with Transaction for Health and what you have with All Sorts, if you have textbook grooming, except this has been legitimised under the language of inclusivity. We're not doing this. Now, it's not just a case of the rules come down from the top. This also has to be accepted and implemented by professionals for whom these considerations are central to everything that they do. So there would have to be sufficient power coming from up top that all these professionals would override everything that they know about safeguarding to accommodate this. The nature of safeguarding is that we don't do that. And when that comes down, we stand firm and we say, no, we will not do that. We will not teach children that their perception does not belong to them. We will not induce dysphoria and try and encourage children to doubt material reality. A child's sex does not alter. Child sex is one of the characteristics in the Children Act that we have to consider with all safeguarding questions, because sex is very important. Because male violence and predatory abuse. We are not, at any point, going to agree to teach our children that medical treatment that involves major surgery and hormone treatments, and by the way, Lupron is a scandal bigger than thalidomide waiting to happen without any of the excuses for prescribing thalidomide. We are not going to abandon the way that we treat children's medical treatment because a Twitter culture who are trying to hide from the fact that they don't understand any of this and have never bothered to check any of this. All that's going to happen, it can be ignored from the top, and then it gradually comes folding down and it hits these walls. And then over time, these walls, i.e. women like me, professionals who will not budge from these principles, just go, no, sorry, we're not going to do that, and nobody's going to make us. Do you know why nobody's going to make us? Because these laws and these systems are stronger than bullshit policy coming down through Twitter. Now, with regards to evidence about offending rates within the trans women population versus male offending, now it is just a simple statistical test. Are these populations different? A comparison of two means, a t-test. Are these offending rates different? But now we don't need that, because trans activists have demonstrated disturbing abusive behaviour. So we only need that now. We only need the things that trans activists have said. We only need the actual behaviour that they have demonstrated. We only need that, you know, Tannis Wood assaulted that person. We only need that on Twitter. This safeguarding debate that has been requested is also accompanied by demands that lesbians do dick, that women's freedom of assembly ends, and that children are made objects in the identity of people demonstrating violent and abusive behaviour. So that's done. And that's the end point. Now, women don't have to really, while we do have to get up off our asses all over the country, and we are standing up, and we are organically, the reason that's happening organically is because even if these things are not stated, the minute you tell women and men, adults, the minute you tell adults that they have to tell children that their boundaries are not theirs, that we should be encouraging children to doubt material reality, that we should be telling them that gender norms that were dead before they were born are now part of their innate identity. The minute we start telling children that they should hand their perception to adults so that those adults can impose their own shit onto those children, we all know what that is. That's grooming. And we know to spot that, and we know to watch out for it, and we know to stand firm, and we know that even other people can't see it, that we just have to stand firm and say what that is until everybody else's understanding has matched ours, and it will come in like a magic eye picture. And over the next few weeks, over the next few months, that's what's going to happen. People are going to start listening to what Ros Cavini said, what Paris Lee said, what Sean Fay said. You know, when Paris Lee said that an infant being denied nutrition and force-fed drugs for the gratification of an adult male carer was validating because it validated a delusion, that gets taken at face value. When Paris Lee says that trans rights mean that women's consent no longer matters, and that women's consent is a personal injury to identity, that's taken at face value. When Ros Cavini says women's freedom of assembly needs to end and violence should be used to enforce that, that's taken at face value. This is a safeguarding debate. That's power dynamics that are revealing themselves. And at that point, we take that at face value. Women had already won this the minute they did that. It's now just about the process by which we clarify all this. Now, the Gender Recognition Act review is up, and Maria Miller pretended she did not have to know all this. She does have to know all this. She's the site of political responsibility. And by now, Maria Miller knows what will happen to her scalp if somebody gets hurt because she has just conducted this ill-thought-out consultation, and everybody will be looking to fix it. So,